Okay, folks, we are back with Core Blimey. I don't even know what episode it is now. So it's seven or eight or something like that. Okay, so we had a bit of a hiatus because McSweeney was away in Austria. How was that, mate?
Very good, sir. My skiing credentials have improved. You'll be delighted to know that I didn't break any legs, necks,
Excellent.
any other parts of my body. So I've come back in with a clean, full bill of health, and raring to go for this.
Good man.
Yeah, so we're going to do boxing today. Now, I know boxing is obviously, in terms of strength, more towards me because I've been a fan for many years and I've been watching and following it for many years. But yeah, I'm sure you guys can have valuable input as well. I want to actually start off. I think one of my questions I had was what generated your interest in boxing or what got you into boxing? This to you guys can literally be your first fight you watched or, your first earliest memories, more or less. But I'll kick it off. And I think around the period where you had the Athens Olympics obviously going on, and with Amir Khan, of the media attention on him was huge back at that time. I'm sure you guys might remember. And I know he only got a silver medal, but obviously being an Asian British guy, naturally quite a few of us, got interested as well and started following it. So I remember watching some of my earliest memories, some of his fights after the Olympics. I think they were on ITV or something. Obviously, they were billing him up quite highly, and then he went and got knocked the fuck out by Brady Prescott, the Colombian or Ecuadorian. I can't remember actually. So yeah, that was more or less my earliest memories. In terms of watching live, I do remember my very first fight I watched live, and I'm talking like American live. Was Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones Jr. Was one of the first ones I watched live. I think at the time I had bought a new laptop. I think I was in year 10. I think it was year 9, year 10. And I used to stay up late all the time watching cricket, sports, wrestling, you name it. And yeah, I remember watching that fight live, and then that sort of it went on from there, where I would watch a lot of Pacquiao fights. I remember Ricky Hatton getting sparked out by Pacquiao, watching that live, and yeah, just in general, been following boxing for a long time. Used to watch a lot of the Klitschko fights as well. Used to be a fan of the Klitschko's. Obviously, they used to fight in Germany a lot, so yeah, it was nice, easy times for us. Didn't have to stay up too late. So yeah, I'll say it was more or less a mixture of Klitschko's, obviously the American fights, and Amir Khan. Although I think I'm not a fan of Amir Khan anymore. Like he's a glass jaw twat, but yeah, it was fun watching him back in the day. What about you guys? I'll start with you, Tom.
To be honest, you saying names like Amir Khan and the Olympics, I completely forget that some of these guys come up through the Olympic
Yeah,
Games, like Amir Khan and Anthony Joshua as
yeah.
well, and then Bois as well. Wasn't he in the Olympics?
I don't think he was. His sister
Joe
was.
Joyce.
Joe
Joe
Joyce.
Joyce
That's
got a
him.
silver medal, in
Yeah.
Rio, I
Joyce
believe.
got a silver, and yeah, bingo, Rio. He got a
Yeah,
silver.
super heavyweight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might be. They have that in the Olympics, that the different class where you got super heavyweight and then heavyweight. Because you might remember famously in 2012 when Joshua won the gold, he won
Yeah,
at super heavyweight and Usyk won at heavyweight. I think it
yeah.
was. So he won the gold at heavyweight, and yeah, Joshua was at super heavyweight. So yeah, in an amateur fight actually, Usyk fought Joyce. I think it was at York
Oh,
Hall. A
Jesus.
video of it on YouTube. So yeah, he beat him obviously, but he's been around for a while as well. Obviously, the amateur scene. A lot of the boxers who go on to be really successful have a very big amateur record and a lot of experience in the amateurs. But yeah, carry on, mate.
Yeah, when you mentioned there, super heavyweight, and that reminds me of one of um, a a pay per view that I went to my mate's house to go and see, and that was Valuev against Hay.
Yeah, toe maker.
Valuev then was like a Neanderthal, like the
Yeah,
guy's fucking forehead was like scary. Like he just didn't look like a normal human being, and he was literally like a foot taller than
yeah.
Hay as well. So everyone was like, "How the fuck is he going to beat him?" And that was in Germany as well. It's not one of those having to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning ones. But for me, the main reason why I got into it is it's a technical sport, like not just physically but mentally and psychologically. Like you have to be with it. You have to learn certain techniques. Like it's not hitting with your right hand and hitting with your left hand, and then knowing southpaw and all that jazz. Like you literally, like it's all about speed, it's all about endurance, it's all about cardio. It's literally training for 6 months straight. If you've had like an injury, or if you need to get back into the sport because you've got a big fight coming up, or like a title fight, or whatever, it's coming up from the trenches as well, and you've got to start really young, and it's a hard graft to it. And
There's a famous saying on that note of what you've just mentioned: boxing is a science, and it's very true. You know, all the stuff that you've mentioned. You know, there's little things that you have to get right, and as you rightfully said, it's not just about punching someone in the face. It is really technical, but yeah, it is literally a science.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Simon, all yours, mate.
Yeah, so I saw Joe Calzaghe. It would have been about
Oh,
2003 because he you know his fights he used to have on before the wrestling on the Saturday night. The Sky Sports.
Yeah, I didn't really have Sky Sports back in the day, but I do remember seeing a lot of adverts and stuff at the times about it.
Yeah, like non-pay-per-view stuff, and
Yeah.
he was just making like short work of anyone that he was coming across. I think knocking people out in 2 rounds, and he, bearing in mind this is about 5-6 years after he fought Chris Eubank, and obviously Chris Eubank Senior has got his granite chin, and he's managed to beat him. So it was around about 2003. It was like before SmackDown would come on, you get these fights, and then at the time I wasn't massively into it, but I obviously knew he was British, Welsh, whatever way you put it. He's born in England, technically.
Welsh and proud, mate, just like me.
Well, yeah, Welsh and proud like you, mate. A thoroughbred, yeah. But and also I marked his card. I thought, okay, this is someone to look out for. I didn't really watch any of like the big fights like Hatton versus Mayweather, but I was like aware of what was, this is a massive fight. He's got to go up. Did he have to go up in a weight class, Hatton, for that?
I don't think so. No. He for that fight, funnily enough, he had Mayweather's dad in his corner. So his trainer was Mayweather's dad, and he's literally fighting his trainer's son, which was a bit weird. I can't remember. I know there was some stuff that sort of didn't go on, or the advice that he was given was pretty piss poor from what I remember. But yeah, Hatton, that age of Hatton was very popular, especially with the Brits.
Yeah, it was him, and then at the time my brother was starting to get into boxing. I didn't start watching regular fights until quite late, actually. It would have been my mid-20s. So I reckon, again, AJ at the Olympics, it was like, okay, I've just heard about him. Andy Murray was raving about him because he's a massive boxing fan. He's like, this guy's a beast, Anthony Joshua. Also, that was during the gold rush, that Super Saturday, I think, when he won the gold medal.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, okay. So and then my brother around like Christmas 2013-14 was like just showing me like loads of Joshua's fights, and he was showing me like Golovkin as well, and I was like,
oh yeah,
what a name. Absolutely animal at the time. So he was like reading off all these names, like, oh, let's watch this now, and I was like intrigued by it. But that's fairly late. I was like 23, 24 was at the time. So and then from now on, it was like whenever AJ had a fight against whether it was like White or was it Prince Charles Martin?
Oh, yeah.
It was just like watching it with Vaughan, and then Parker was quite an interesting one because that was a points one, wasn't it? And he didn't quite nail it. And I was thinking, has he got a bit of a weakness here?
Yeah, on that Parker fight, I remember putting in our SH group chat, saying Joshua will win on points because obviously he had been knocking everyone out before that. But I'd been obviously following Parker as well, and I've seen what he's capable of.
Yeah,
and I remember putting that little punt in there, say, anyone fancy losing any money? Put Joshua on points, and it obviously came in, and then Tunde was like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me before?"
Yeah, and it was like, okay, but it impressed me that he managed to kind of just go a distance and beat someone without knocking them out. You need to do that because you're not going to knock every single person out. Like no one ever does that. But so that started to kind of pique my interest. And I mean, this is kind of like a side comment. I kind of feel since the turn of a decade, boxing's suffered a bit. And I think it's coincided with COVID, and it's also coincided with a lot of fights being in Saudi. But I don't know if I'll open the floor to.
Yeah, I'll flip that, and I'll actually say it's as good as it's ever been. And the reason why
Really?
is because of Saudi, ironically, fights that so much politics, deny happening, are now actually happening because Saudi money is coming forward and he's going, yeah, I'll fucking pay whatever you want. Here's this fight, here's that fight. Usyk Fury would have never happened. Like, we saw what was going on before the fight actually even took place, with Fury was backing out, issues here and there. I'm getting a bit of feedback. Timothy, if you could mute, please.
Mhm.
That fight was going back and forth, and then obviously Fury Usyk called his bluff because he wanted 70-30. This is just one example, by the way. He called his bluff, say, yeah, I'll take whatever you want. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I just want to make the fight happen. Now, back in the day, a lot of these fights with the best of the best were not happening. It would take an actual absolute, it would be a pain in the ass to make. But Saudi money came on the table, and big fights are being made. You think about some of these cards like Bertibiev, Bivol. That's happened twice. Obviously, a huge card, huge fight, unification. You've got obviously the Usyk Furies. You've got all these other ones that have happened, and it's like Saudi are having the biggest fights now. I know Dubois and Joshua was in the UK, but it was still a huge fight, which was which came about from the Saudi money because it was a Riyadh season bullshit. Now more fights will continue to happen because he's forking out the money, matey, in Saudi Arabia. So I actually think it's at a very good place now, more than ever. Because of the difficulty of getting fights made. I mean, you got talks of Canelo and Crawford coming up, mate. That is a mouth-watering fight. Again, I've been following Crawford since when he came to Scotland and beat Ricky Burns and won the belt. This guy is fucking special. And I remember when he was facing Errol Spence Jr., that was a big unification in the welterweight division. And I was saying to everyone, mate, Crawford's got this in the bag. He will, if not knock him out, he will win easily on points. And he knocked him out. So Crawford, Canelo, don't sleep on Crawford. All I'll say, yeah, Canelo's two weight classes bigger, but he is a special fighter. He is getting on a bit now. But yeah, back to your original point. I do think it's in a really good situation now because someone's willing to fork out the money to get fights made because there's so much politics because of these fucking promoters. Promoters don't want to fight each other. And a great example is Matchroom and Queensberry, obviously Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, known for bitterly hating each other for a very long time. They wouldn't fight each other's fighters. And then Saudi guy comes along and now they're best of mates because they're getting, a big pocket full of cash every time.
Was that 5v5 thing all about that, wasn't it?
That was another one, yeah. No, so that was another one where they had a dedicated event for Matchroom versus Queensberry. But the point is, their fights are getting made now because the money's on the table. So no, I think it's in a good place. Ironically, I think shit like MMA is actually even worse now because I used to have a huge following in MMA, and at times people were saying, "Oh, MMA is overtaking boxing. Boxing is boring," but it's far from it. I think MMA is in absolute shit now. I watched the main event. I watched the fight stuff, but then I was falling asleep. You know what I mean? So I think boxing is definitely, and on top of that, let's not forget, because it's in Saudi, it's in a good time zone for us to watch it as well as UK fans.
It is.
Rather than waiting up for fucking American time to try and watch stuff. Because that was always a pain in the ass.
It is. I just see the crowds as being a bit more passive. Whereas when it's in the UK or America or Germany, wherever, there's a lot more kind of passion. Whereas
UK fans have always been known for having a good atmosphere in the stadiums or in the arenas. I've only been to 2 boxing fights in my life, live, and both times there were decent atmospheres. It's just one of those sports. For me personally, it is probably my second favorite sport. Obviously, football and Chelsea will always be number one, but boxing is a very close second, I'd say. So I want to ask a quick question. So, favorite boxer? I'll start off with you, Mr. Tom, if you can unmute, please.
I've been tossing and turning over this for the whole well, since yesterday or whenever the fuck you put out the questions. For me, for someone who's come up from nothing and become something, and not just because they're a household name, they've done some shitty things in the past, and they are a bit of a twat, but they always come out absolutely tonking it out. And they beat one of my all-time favourite boxers as well back in the day. So my all-time favourite is Mike Tyson. And I actually watched the program the other day. Was it fucking hell, Tyson versus Bruno on Sky?
Mm.
So another one of my favourite boxers because they're UK is Frank Bruno, and he's a bit of a geezer. He's cheeky. He packed a punch. But Mike Tyson, from where he came from, when he was like fucking 13, 14 years old, and he was getting into streets fights, and then what's the name of the trainer who brought him in? Castellano or something like that.
Customato, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah, I couldn't. I'm just on the tip of my fucking tongue.
Because it's Don King after that, and then it's Customato, isn't it?
Yeah, and Don King is a fucking absolute bellend. He's a scam artist. That guy, fucking absolute douchebag. But what Castellano, or what he did for him, where he brought him in, he like adopted him. He brought him in, and he ate food at his table. He treated him like a son, and he got him out of trouble so much. He's like, let me teach you to use your fists for all the right reasons, and we're going to take over the world, and I'm going to show you some skills to take you further in life if this doesn't work out, but I'm going to show you the way of life, and to use what you've got and turn that from a negative into a positive, and you're going to learn, you're going to educate, and so on and so forth. And what he did, he changed his life around. When he was like 18 years old or 17, like there was videos of him fighting against men, and this guy Mike Tyson, when he was 17 years old, 18 years old, the muscles on the guy, it was a mouth watering, and he was knocking these guys out left, right, and centre, and he was a fucking kid. It was all this politics of what he's done, like with the raping a young lady in the hotel room, and fucking the Holyfield ear thing and all that jazz. But that is just part and parcel of who the guy was. He was an animal. Like, he could not be contained. He was an absolute beast, and he had like a lot of frustration that he was letting out, and his punches, by literally annihilating people, and some of the frustration came out in other ways. Not to say that I condone anything that he's done that is ever bad, but he was an absolute animal. But then there's other fighters out there like George Groves. I love George Groves because he's a Chelsea fan, but he put Carl Froch in a fucking corner, and that was one of the best boxing matches I've ever watched on the pay per view. That was unbelievable. Now he's a fat fucking shit doing all the punditry, but he was a quality boxer. Roy Jones Jr. was an absolute animal way back in the day as well. Frank Bruno was unbelievable. Lennox Lewis, unbelievable. This is probably back in the day when the heavyweights.
You're missing one name. I'm waiting for you to say a famous name that you should have mentioned by now, from your country, your fellow countrymen.
If you're gonna say Tyson Fury, you can.
No, he's a scumbag, mate. Go on.
Irishman.
Think about it.
Famous
Famous Irishman who had many big fights, world champion from back in the day.
Barry McGowan.
No, he's McGuigan. Barry McGuigan. He's Northern Irish, I think. From what.
Yeah. Who the fuck are you thinking of?
Come on, mate. Steve Collins. Don't tell me you don't know who Steve Collins is.
No, not a clue.
Mate, he was a super middleweight. He beat Eubank. I think he beat Nigel Benn as well. He was world champion. He was you need to go on YouTube and check out Steve Collins' fights, because he was a big name back in the day. Sky Sports did this top table sort of, interview with all the best super middleweights, and Eubank was there, Roy Jones Jr. was there, Calzaghe was there, Collins, because Collins wanted that Calzaghe fight, I think, really badly, as did quite a few others. But yeah, he was like an Irish boxing legend. So yeah, I'm surprised you didn't mention him or know of him actually.
Was that around the same time as Joe Calzaghe and
Yeah,
Roy Jones?
about the Eubank time. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up his record right now.
Honestly, didn't even ring a bell. Honestly, didn't ring a bell.
Like I've obviously seen on YouTube some of his fights. He was born in 1964, known as the Celtic Warrior. Where was he born? Cabra, Dublin. But yeah, some of his fights, he's fought like his record right now. Yeah, he lost his 24th fight. He was 21-3. And then all of his fights after that, he won. So you got Chris Eubank twice. He beat Chris Eubank twice. He beat Nigel Benn twice. He was a WBO middleweight title holder. But yeah, he was a big household name, and he won a lot of big fights. But I don't know, he retired. It was a bit weird. Again, obviously I wasn't watching around that time, but yeah, he's probably one of the most famous fighters to come out of Ireland, to be honest with you.
Honestly, yeah, never even heard of him.
You need to go on YouTube and have a look at some of his fights. That's all I say, mate. McSweeney, your favourite boxer, if you can choose one?
Yeah, no, it's Joe Calzaghe. Has to be really. Because again, first fight I saw, and documentary during lockdown I watched, Mr. Calzaghe, where it just kind of takes you back to the whole story of where he's brought up in the valleys. Have you not seen it?
You know what? I saw a documentary on the plane when I was coming back from Dubai in 2018. It was a Calzaghe documentary, and I don't know if it was the same one or not. I don't know how many there's been made.
Yeah, so I mean, it probably would have been because that came out in 2015.
It probably was that one then, yeah.
So I mean, it takes you back like to his upbringing. You know, he got bullied at school and stuff, and then I think he left school without GCSEs. Didn't sit any of his exams, but his dad's like made a punching bag out of a carpet, and I think his dad worked like 2 or 3 jobs at times, like a barman, bartender.
Old Enzo Calzaghe.
Oh, it's just watching it. It's so kind of it's so wholesome. It's like the way he even like screams at his son during the fights as well. Like, basically, you've got to wake up. You've got to realise the opportunity here because you're not going to get many opportunities like this. And every single fight, I think he actually had that grounded approach to it. And also, I found with him as well, with the Joe, he just got on with stuff. He didn't really tend to poke the bear too much in terms of his pre-match, barbing with the opponent, the verbal barbs. That gloves are off thing with Johnny Nelson. Right?
Yeah, it was a very respectable champion.
Yeah, and I don't know if you in the documentary. Do you remember when Frank Warren was basically just talking for him? He was like, "What do you expect? What do you expect to see? 12 rounds of him just messing about. He's going to knock him out 2 rounds. Like, get it done, get out of here." Like, it was just so kind of clinical, but he didn't really care about the limelight in terms of like having a loud mouth or saying controversial stuff. He just got on with stuff, and I think it's very refreshing. He'd be my favourite of all time. 46-0, sports personality, 2007. He won, didn't he? Just before he retired.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame with Calzaghe because he doesn't. I feel like he genuinely doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. I just literally Google when it was Wikipedia. He's not even knighted. He's not even got a knighthood.
CBE.
He's got a. Yeah, I think
it's one down, isn't it? One down.
Yes, he's got his CBE. Yeah. But you think about other people have got knighthoods for fucking nothing, you know. Although I don't give a shit about all that titles and crap, but some of his fights, even looking at his record, I remember they mentioned I think in the documentary they also mentioned the whole Jeff Lacey thing. Jeff Lacey was an absolute killer from America. Everyone thought Calzaghe was going to get wiped by Lacey, and then he schooled Lacey. You know, he's got Michael Kessler in there. He's got Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr. Understandably, the only thing going against Calzaghe is he could have fought more bigger names, like a few more towards the end of his career. They feel like he faced Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins towards the end of their careers. But you know, you can only fight who's in front of you.
Yeah,
So
circumstantial, isn't it? Really.
yeah, and again, maybe back in the day, if things were like how they are now, he would have fought a lot more. But he's still got an amazing record. Obviously, that early fight, 23rd fight, I can see here, it's Chris Eubank where he won the
Oh
belt.
yeah.
You know, when he was quite young. But yeah, he is an amazing fighter and one of the best, if not the best, British fighter ever. In all honesty,
He's the longest reigning super middleweight world champion in history, isn't he?
he has to be. He has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
he won the belt on his 23rd fight, which is 1997, and he
Yeah.
held that belt more or less um, until 2000. Well, literally 10 years. Literally
Yeah.
10 years he held that before he went up to like heavyweight to face Bernard and Roy Jones. So yeah, I feel like he doesn't get the recognition that he really deserves. He should be like, yeah.
I was gonna say is during the documentary as well, the Kessler, where they're like sitting there watching their fight, and at the end of it, it's like they just shake hands, and it's like
Yeah.
that was one hell of a fight, and you know, he's a tough bastard as well, wasn't he, Kessler? So
yeah, there's great fights. Froch that he had, I remember them. Very good fights.
Yeah, no, I think it is a fair point, but like again, circumstantially, he just didn't have the people in their prime. But yeah, I mean, to be undefeated and still have credible opponents on his CV,
yeah,
he'd be my favourite. What about you?
I think it's a no-brainer, especially right now. It's got to be Usyk. It's got to be Usyk.
Yeah.
Growing up,
here we fucking go. Here we go.
Growing up, I'd have to say, you know, obviously because I used to watch quite a lot of fights. I didn't really have like a favorite. Obviously, Amir Khan, like I said, I've followed him a lot, and I probably was a huge fan of his. If I'm brutally honest, it probably was Amir Khan when I was growing up. But as I started watching boxing more and more, the Klitschko brothers, I loved watching them, as I mentioned before. Golovkin, I think someone mentioned him before. He was an absolute monster. You know, I would stay up and watch his fights, and I would. Billy Joe Saunders was another one I was a huge fan of because I went in the first fight against Eubank. And on that card at the Excel, there was Fury versus Chisora number 2, and I was at that event, so I watched the Eubank, Billy Joe Saunders. There's loads of boxers I've liked as I'm growing up. George Groves is another one, as Tom mentioned before. So I've been to 2 George Groves fights. The one at Wembley, obviously, first boxing event at the new Wembley, I was there. And then he fought another fighter, Christopher Robrase. I went to that with a couple of guys from work, and that was at Wembley Arena. That was a pretty awful event, in all honesty. It was boring and dull, but yeah, well, I was there. And I think of recent time, it's got to be, Usyk. Golovkin again. I used to love watching him fight. There are others I am missing out off the top of my head, which I can't think of right now. But going over to like switching the question back to least favorite fighter, you know, one person I need to mention, and again, it's probably no surprise. It's got to be fucking Fury right now. To think again, once upon a time, I was a fan of Fury. You know, I had tickets. I'm sure you guys have mentioned this to you before. I had tickets to go to Dusseldorf with 4 other guys from work when I was at Denton's to go watch Fury versus Klitschko, the first fight. So we all had the tickets booked. I think we paid about just under 100 quid for the seats. They were really good seats. And then the fucking fight got postponed. I think someone had an injury, and the rescheduled date was while I was supposed to be on holiday in Egypt. So I couldn't obviously go to the fight, which I was gutted about because that would have been my first and only ever foreign boxing fight. So in the end, obviously, I still went out to Dusseldorf with one of the guys who was meant to go, and the other 3, they sort of took a hit and got a little bit of money back and didn't go. But like, I still enjoyed that little trip to Dusseldorf I had for a couple of days. And yeah, obviously flew back from Egypt on that Saturday, I remember, and then watched the fight that evening. Just feeling a bit sad that I wasn't there, you know, because obviously Fury went ahead and won. I was a fan of obviously both at the time, Klitschko and I didn't care really who won, but probably would have wanted Klitschko to win a little bit more because I was probably more fan of his. But yeah, and the way he just turned into a fucking scumbag of late, all the fame and all the money sort of got to his head, the amount of shit that comes out of his mouth, it just like so infuriating. Like I'm so happy like Usyk like scored him twice and put him in his place. and now hopefully he's fucked off for good and never comes back again. Stays under the rock he's in right now.
In Morecambe.
Say that again.
Out in Morecambe.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck he is. He's probably got a house in.
He lives. He said he likes living in Morecambe because people just leave him alone around.
And he's boasting about how he has like a shitty car or something. Yeah, you actually go online and you look at how many Lambos and how many Range Rovers and shit he actually has. The guy chats out of his ass so much, it's so infuriating. And I think finally people have seen who he is, truthfully, and they know how much of a scumbag he is, and I'm glad he's been exposed. I know people like to shit on Joshua and stuff for certain things he's done and said, but you can't compare the two, in my opinion. Fury is just an out and out scumbag, and there are a few fighters out there right now who you sort of watch and you just you can't wait for them to get knocked out, but he's definitely top of the list as my least favorite fighter, probably from back in the day. I'll say Mayweather as well. I'm never a huge fan of Mayweather. One thing I did not get is Mayweather was the pay-per-view king, used to bring in the most money, but I remember sitting there as a kid watching Mayweather fights and I'm thinking, how is this guy like the main pay-per-view king where his fights are fucking boring? Like, I compare him with Pacquiao, for example. Pacquiao fights are full of action, the speed, the power, the knockouts, entertaining. So I just never really understood it as to why he was the pay-per-view king, and he's another scumbag as well.
I'm kind of the same with that a little bit. Sorry to cut in, but a lot of the fighters like Mayweather, Joshua when he was coming up, and Fury, they had like 18 fights, one after the other, when they were against an absolute pile of shit. Fury was against oh my god, it was in Vegas. I can't remember the fucking guy's name now. It was when he was returning from a
Schwartz.
fight. Yeah, I saw Waltz or something like that.
Schwartz.
Yeah,
cut his eyebrow or something. Like,
that's the one.
No, that was Otto Wallin. He cut his eyebrow.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was Waltz or Otto Wallin, and they build it up as a massive fight. But it's Tyson fucking. It's like Chelsea against Bolton Wanderers. It's like you're bigging up Chelsea as this is a massive game for them. This is a comeback game. Like they really need to win this. But you're against Bolton fucking Wanderers. You're against a shitty team. Like you're going to beat them anyway. It doesn't matter. You're going to make your money. Floyd Mayweather.
On that point, Tom, I will butt in on that point with the Tom Schwartz one. Yeah, everyone at that time was lamenting the fact that it was on pay-per-view, and any mug who paid to, I never pay for pay-per-view. You know me, I'm a cheapskate. I'm a pirate. But any mug who would pay to watch that pay-per-view, Tom Schwartz, fuck me, against Fury, they deserve to be robbed. That's what I'll say. Sorry to buy in.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But then it's like the same as Floyd Mayweather as well. He was what, like 42-0 in the end when he finished. And how many people could you say out of those people that he beat were world beaters?
To be honest, with Floyd, hit quite a few, but Floyd was notoriously known for being a cherry picker. He picked people.
100%.
He picked people at certain points of their career. But I have to give it to Floyd. He has got a good resume. He has got a decent resume.
Oh, he does. And like he's a smart boxer. Don't get me wrong. Like the money's worth it, and so on and so forth. But the cards that he was fighting against were very, a little bit iffy.
Yeah, no, I would agree, but yeah, he's got a decent resume. People complain he cherry picked, but at the same time, they got to remember, even like the Pacquiao fight, he was the older fighter. He was older than Pacquiao, so he was just a boring fight, in my opinion. That's what I'll say. Vic Sweeney, did I ask you about your favorite boxer?
You mentioned his name, yeah, Floyd's Money Mayweather Jr. Just to make that clear, so his dad doesn't come after me. Yeah, because again, it's like I think Ricky Hatton was on with Simon Jordan last year at one point. He basically said like, "There's this guy that's just he's from what they call their version of council estates in America. Is it called the projects or the housing projects?" And he's walking into rooms with like and just start showing off his bling and all the rest of it. It's more like a persona than his actual boxing. And whereas like Ricky Hatton wouldn't dare do that back in Manchester or whatever part of Manchester he's from. He's going to be pure and sort of true to his roots. But with Mayweather, it just seems like he's just so ridiculously self-indulgent, and all it comes with it. Yeah, he's a great boxer, but I never really got that into his fights. I never even saw the Pacquiao fights. Actually, was it one or two?
He fought Pacquiao once.
Once, wasn't it? And then obviously Hatton had Pacquiao, and that basically just finished him off, didn't it?
Oh yeah, Pacquiao absolutely annihilated poor Hatton. That was quite embarrassing. You know what?
Yeah.
On Mayweather, I want to add there are rumors online that I read an article here and there where Mayweather's apparently facing bankruptcy of something because of some scam or something. And if it does come to fruition, and it comes true, you know,
Yeah.
I will laugh. I will laugh because he goes around, as you said, flaunting his money, flaunting his cash,
Oh,
putting on Instagram and all this shit or whatever he does. And so yeah, it'll be quite amusing for everyone involved to see him in a dark place.
Do you remember as well? I think it was 2009. He was at WrestleMania, wasn't he, with Big Show?
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing was, Big Show had just come back, and it was like he was being initially billed as the heel or the bad guy, and Mayweather was going to be like, I wouldn't say fan favorite, but basically the guy that the fans don't hate, and then ended up turning on Mayweather.
Yeah.
I think, didn't he legitimately break Big Show's nose?
Yeah, but I think that was part of the plan. They wanted him to hit him like for real, and Big Show AOK'd it. He said, go for it, and he did that. Yeah, literally break his nose.
But the whole thing, because I didn't think that was. I thought it was basically Mayweather just throwing his weight around a bit, and sort of trying to be the big man, and you know, similar to how Logan Paul does as well at the minute with WWE. But
no, don't you dare mention that wanker's name.
Oh mate, just when you think he's gone, he comes back, and it's like, he is a good wrestler, but my God, he just pisses me off. Like everything about him.
I do want to mention on that point now that you've mentioned his name. All this YouTube boxing, celebrity boxing, it's a cancer on the sport. I will mention that. Not to say I won't watch it. Like I will watch it. Of course, I'm not paying for it, so I don't give a shit. But it is disgusting, like how much traction it gets. It's just like it's not right. Well, one of these days, one of these YouTubers or influencers, whatever the fuck you want to call them, will end up dying in that ring, and then people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, boxing's a bad sport." They shouldn't be fucking doing it in the first place, and it will happen one day. God forbid it doesn't happen, but yeah, they should not be in that ring. It's not right.
The only one I watched was Tommy Fury against Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And even that was like the commentator was trying to be diplomatic about it. You could tell he wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, it's just cringe-worthy watching that sort of shit. I think even all these exhibition fights Mayweather has, I don't even fucking bother watching it. Yeah, obviously I follow a lot of boxing pages, so I find out what the result is. But yeah, I really don't give a toss about all this Jake Paul and all this other shit. It's just I've got another question actually. If you could choose a dream fight, I'll start off with you, Tom, because your microphone's all messed up. Dream fight between two fighters.
Are we talking like they're both fighting now, or one is
at any time? If it can be something that can happen now, or something that could have happened back in the day but never did.
Give me Muhammad Ali against Mike Tyson.
No, it has to be a realistic one.
Oh no! I thought you. Oh, okay, fine.
No, yeah, within their time
within their
time frames, yeah.
Can you come back to me on that? I was only to have a proper think.
Yeah, no, don't worry. To be honest, I don't mind the question also being, from different eras. You obviously mentioned Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. So yeah, I will accept that. So but think of the other one as well.
Yeah, well,
McSweeney, have you got an answer, or do you want me to go?
Well, it was for a few years. It was, and you're going to know what I'm about to say. It was going to be Fury against AJ. Yeah,
I'd agree. That's my answer as well, actually. Just to see AJ knock Fury the fuck out. In all honesty,
I think Fury would batter him. Do you not?
What I'd say on that fight is Joshua's got a puncher's chance, but if it goes to points in Fury, Fury should dominate him. And I've been saying for years Fury would beat Joshua easily, but I would just love to see Fury get chinned, like proper chinned, out Sparko, out cold. So I would love to see that Joshua fight.
The reason I say was past tense is like, again, when AJ started losing to the likes of Ruiz and whoever else he's lost to more recently, it devalued it. And then obviously you've got the other stuff going on with like Fury winding him up and sending these ultimatums and stuff, like these videos saying, right, you've got a week deadline to decide if you're a
scumbag. Yeah.
And it's like I found it amusing, but it's at the same time it was like, this is just becoming comical now. It's not serious. You're making this potential battle you don't think's going to happen. I actually do think it's eventually going to happen, but I think it'd be similar to Brook against Khan, where it'll happen like 5-6 years after it should have happened.
Yeah.
It'll be too late in the day for it to be any sort of as good as it could have been. It should have happened probably around about, I'd say, 2019, 2020.
Yeah, or at least when they were both world champions. Obviously, Fury had the WBC belt, Joshua had the other 3 belts. That would have been a huge fight. But of course, sport politics got in the way, and it never happened. And
talking about it for years, even like down in pubs and stuff. I can't wait for this fight. And to be fair to Usyk, and I was one of the few people actually thought he could go up to heavyweight. Usyk's just coming on after he beat Bellew, and then he's taken whoever else he beat as well. He's taken it to another level, hasn't he? Really, he's turned up, rocked up. He's completely like shown everyone what he's capable of, and the fight's not going to happen. I don't think AJ Fury.
Yeah, I do hope it happens one day. Don't get me wrong, just to see again Fury get knocked the fuck out. But I mean, even on Usyk, I remember. I'm sure I've told many people for many years, Usyk is special, and people don't really want to believe you. And when I said he will come up to heavyweight, he will beat Joshua, he will beat Fury, because I've watched him for years, and he's so tactical. He's a magician in that ring. His footwork. And another fighter who I was a huge fan of, actually, I forgot to mention before, who I'm not much of a fan of anymore because of his views, obviously in Ukraine and stuff, is Lomachenko, the Ukrainian Lomachenko. He is an artist in the ring, and again, he had an amazing record. Double. I think he was a double Olympic gold medalist. Came into the pro ranks, and he had a title fight in only his second fight, and he actually lost a split decision, which a lot of people thought he won, and he was just something special. But I used to step and watch all of his fights as well. It was amazing talent, but Usyk had like that, because obviously they were in the same camp, they were sort of together a lot, and he showed a lot of what Lomachenko has in terms of his footwork. They have that good saying, or that Usyk can move like a middleweight, and that is true. But he's a special fighter. And like I said, I've been banging on about him for many years, and I was actually shocked. Like, even when I went to Ukraine one of the first times, I think 2016, 2017. I was shocked, and like, why is there not posters of this guy all over the place? Why is there no like proper recognition of him? Because sport isn't really that big out there in terms of, I think football is, but other sports is not really. So I was like shocked. I mean, if that's in the UK, like the likes of a Joshua or someone, they're on adverts all over the place. They're all on billboards and all sorts. So it was a bit of a shame that I'm sure he gets the recognition now. Obviously, after what he's achieved, beating Joshua twice, beating Fury twice, he's beat Dubois. He's literally done it all, and I'm a bit sad he doesn't just retire, because I don't want. He's done all there is to do. He's literally like the saying, completed boxing. He's done it all. So there's not much more he has to prove. He can. There's rumors about him fighting Dubois again in the summer, and unifying the belts again. And fair play if he does that. It will be amazing. But
I don't think. You know what they're like, the Klitschko's as well. They just want to go on forever, don't they? Really, and it's there's no sort of letting up. They don't sort of, to them, it's like that's their life, isn't it? Obviously politics as well.
Yeah. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko, he fought until like into his early 40s, but he was still in pretty good nick. Even that fight against Joshua, if he had pulled that trigger, I think in the 5th round or 6th round where he knocked Joshua down, if he had pulled that trigger and just went for it, he admitted himself he was too conservative, and he was sort of conserving his energy, and he was in his 40s by that time, but he still put up a really good fight against Joshua, and he was just dominant. And people moan that era of heavyweight boxing, like from 05 to maybe 2012ish, was boring. But how can you blame the Klitschko's for that? They're fighting whoever's put in front of them. It's
Yeah,
not their fault that they're the best of the best. His brother, like going on to one of my dream fights actually, which probably would have never ever happened. But I would have loved to see the two Klitschko brothers face each other, Vitaly and Vladimir,
yeah.
because they were like. I remember Emmanuel Stewart, the old trainer who obviously passed away, who was Lennox's trainer as well. He obviously trained Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko. He said he's seen those two brothers in sparring and they would absolutely murder each other if they were in the ring, like for real. So you can
Yeah.
imagine the sort of sparring they were having. But I think another one I do want to mention is Calzaghe and Froch. I would have loved to have seen that fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't really a fan of Froch growing up because I sort of sided with George Groves, obviously over the little rivalry that they had.
Yeah.
But I always watched Froch's fights. I remember watching loads of his fights live as well, 1 or 2 in America as well. So I was always a fan of his. And to be honest, he's got a YouTube channel now, Froch, where Froch on Fighting. And I do enjoy his views now. Like I've almost become a fan. Whereas I wasn't as much before, but now I am sort of a fan, and I do like the stuff he puts out, the content that he has. He just says as is. So yeah, he's another one worth mentioning.
And I can squeeze it in. It's not a dream fight, but I'm actually quite looking forward to it. It's a Ben against Eubank Jr.
That is a good fight we can all discuss actually. Obviously, people have their own opinions. Obviously, Conor Ben, ex-Benedict Ben, the old drugs cheat possibly. I think even if Ben wins that fight by some miracle, I think Eubank should school him in that fight. If I'm genuinely on,
He ain't get knocked out as a Eubank. Like he's got his dad's granite chin, isn't he?
I mean, it is a tough one to call. Even the bookies have it quite tight. They've got Eubank winning, but I think Ben's just going to be too small for him. He's coming up two weight classes, and yeah, I don't know. Of course, it's a huge fight. I mean, I'm really interested in it, but Eubank should school him. But if he doesn't, it's the Liam Smith fight that sort of makes me wonder. Liam Smith obviously knocked Eubank out, although it was an elbow. It was still a knockout. And yeah, that animosity is really good. Actually, I think it's on next weekend. Is it this? It's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Yeah. Because but if the one that turns up against Eubank Jr. turned up against Groves that time, then he's in trouble. I think because he just gets so cocky and arrogant and complacent. If someone turns up.
I did enjoy seeing Eubank get a beat versus Billy Joe and obviously Groves as well. Yeah. Obviously, I was supporting Groves during that Super 6 tournament, but it'll be a great fight. That's all I'll say. It'll be an amazing fight. There aren't really that many fights around on the horizon which I can sort of look at and think, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, if Usyk Dubois happens, that'll be one. But yeah, this one is definitely probably the biggest of recent time coming up. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We've also got. I want to mention another fighter in the lower weight classes who you guys probably haven't even heard of is Inoue. His nickname is the Monster, mate. If you go on YouTube and watch this guy's highlights, he's pound for pound like top 3 because he's beaten everyone they put in front of him. He's unified divisions. He is a great fighter. He mainly fights out of Japan. He did fight in Scotland once in a Josh Taylor card. Josh Taylor is another fighter I followed, obviously Scottish fighter, and he was really good. He was really, really good, but yeah, he just obviously those 2 fights against Catterall, he lost in the US as well, I think against someone, I can't remember the name anymore, but Josh Taylor was another. He's the only unified British champion which we've had, fully unified, all the belts in all 4 belts. I think he's still the only one, if I'm correct in saying, who's ever achieved that feat. Obviously, Fury could have had it if he had beaten Usyk, but yeah, that didn't happen. But yeah, Josh Taylor was always a good fighter. Carl Frampton, I remember watching some of his fights as well. He fought Leo Santa Cruz twice. That clip that I've sent you guys, Steve Bunce mentioning my name on live TV. Do you remember that?
Oh yes.
Yeah, so that was during the Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton fight. I remember watching it with my older brother, so obviously I put a tweet out. They wanted the limerick, and I made a limerick and I sent it in, and he read it out on TV. So that's my only time I've ever been mentioned on live TV, and I'll take that.
Good man.
Tom, I know you've been very quiet over there because of your dodgy microphone. But yeah, dream fight. Have you got your answer yet?
I mean, you guys were talking about Fury and Joshua, and yeah, I mean they've all fought each other apart from them two. I mean, they're the other guys that haven't fought, and everyone's been gagging for it. Everyone's been foaming at the mouth, and it'll be a good fight to have. But like, the more that the days go on, the more it feels like the fight isn't going to happen itself. And like, obviously, Fury isn't fighting anymore. Or he says he is, and you know it's a load of bollocks. You know he's going to come out of retirement any fucking day now.
Scumbag's retired like 6 times. You know, it's an
know.
absolute fucking joke.
I know he's probably retired just to help out with like another kid that's on the way. I mean, he's got like what, 5 kids, 6 kids, something stupid like that.
Probably about 8. Fuck knows. He's like a breeding animal.
Yeah, it's pop out every fucking minute. But yeah, that would be a nice fight to have. I would like that fight, but I'd still, if you want an unrealistic fight of 2 absolute bosses fighting it out, I'd still go Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, and you can fuck right off if you're not going to take that as an answer.
No, I will. Who's winning?
Tyson. I think Tyson would do. But I don't know. No, fuck you. You can't put me in that spot. Fuck you. I don't know.
I think all it takes is one hit. Ali does move well, obviously, and Ali has been beaten, as has Mike Tyson. But yeah, obviously, it will be an intriguing fight. I would love to see a lot of fights that would have happened in their prime. Pacquiao, Mayweather, in their prime. Calzaghe, Frochi. I know that did never happen, but in their prime. AJ, Joshua, AJ and Fury, I should say, in their prime. You know, so many fights are getting missed because they're not in the prime. But like I said, with this Saudi thing, there are quite a few happening while they are sort of in their prime. I got to mention Golovkin and Canelo, when that first happened, the first fight, that was one of the biggest fights of decades, probably. You know, like it was a proper, genuine, world-class number 1 against number 1. And it's such a huge fucking shame Golovkin got robbed of that win because he clearly won that first fight. And they
was the usual bollocks, was it? The usual bollocks of the judges out in Texas.
I will mention now that it's been brought up. Some of the judging, both in MMA and boxing in general, but the judging, the corruption in boxing and in sports in general, but it's so fucking bad. Really fucking bad. If you want to see a farcical bit of refereeing / judging, I advise you to go on YouTube and watch Bradis, who's a Latvian cruiserweight, versus Glowacki, who's a Polish one. The referee in the ring is absolutely fucking clueless. Like the bells ringing, people are knocking each other out left, right, and center. It was a farce. But some of these, the reason he came to mind is his wife is a judge, and she, I think, gave Canelo 118 and 112 in that fight. And yeah, they were saying literally this woman is like one of the 3 blind mice. Sorry. It was like some of this judging that's happened in the past has been shocking. Even like with Fury and
Ngannou.
Ngannou won that fight 100%.
I know. I remember at the end. I was watching it in Wimbledon in one of the bars in Wimbledon, and my mate Navin was like, his face at the end of it was like, how's he not won it? How's he not won that?
So, like even the Joshua second fight against Usyk, someone gave Joshua the fight. Like it was a split decision. Usyk against Fury, was it the most recent one or it was the first one actually? The first one they gave Fury the fight. I'm like, what are these corrupt, dodgy bastards watching?
Yeah,
that really does like take the mick.
Don't you think that's a lot of time? It's to try and set up the trilogy as well, isn't it?
A bit of that. You guys might remember I kept saying in the second Usyk Fury fight, Usyk's getting screwed out unless he knocks him out, and my heart was pumping like mad during the scorecards because I was thinking, yeah, they're gonna rob him and they want this trilogy, they want the money. Thank God somehow Usyk got the unanimous decision, but yeah, some of these decisions that have been made over the past decades, you know, it is very, very sad. Because a lot of people have lost unbeaten records or, you know, lost bigger fights because of the corruption is just rife. It's really bad, and that needs to get really sorted out, somehow. But I just don't think it ever will. Money talks at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It is a shame.
It's the thing that spoils the sport for me, and it's kind of similar in Formula One as well. Like Formula One, not in terms of like judging, it's more like someone's got a better car than someone else. And it's like
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the way. It shouldn't be hinging on a technicality like that. It should be on who's the best, who is the best, and yeah.
Yeah, but how else can you really judge that apart from everyone being in the same car, right? I mean, literally, everyone drives around in the same exact car, and we see who's the best today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like there is a cap now. There is a cap on it. Like previously, there wasn't. Like if you were Red Bull, you could pump in like 100 million, and if you were a Haas, you could only pump in about 10 million. Now there is a cap on it, and I think there are a few teams like Red Bull that have been found out a little bit, and I think they're trying to screw the rules a little bit as well. I think they're trying to spend a bit more money than they actually should be. So it's a little bit odd. But yeah, fuck you. We're trying to criticise the F1.
Mate, it's because I had Tunde and Osman like debating it so many times during that in that room in the corner up on the 7th floor, and it was like they were just going to like full blown arguments about it. It's like it seems ridiculous to me that that's the way. But sorry, mate. I know you're a big fan of Formula One. Did you go to Dubai Formula One?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. Love that place. Fucking love it.
Formula One could be another topic for another week, so we'll see. Because I'm not a huge fan, but I have watched it over the years. I have watched it here and there, but not as much of late.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'll wrap it up there. We've got 2 minutes left, but it's all good. Yeah, it's good to after the 3-week hiatus to crack on again. And then same again next week, guys.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers, folks.
Just sort out your fucking microphone, Timothy, will ya? Fucking hell.
Get
yourself a fucking headset or something.
Have you got into man cave?
No, I'm in my missus's office, even though she's not working at the moment. This is still her office.
Can you use her headset, please? Yeah, next time.
Can you fuck off, please?
Actually, I will do that right now. I need to upload this fucking podcast. So yeah. Cheers, guys. Have a good night,
guys.
Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.
All right, bye.